Hey guys, coming at you today with a recipe for one of my newest products that I ship from my bakery, Sugar Swap Bake Shop, a delicious strawberry white chocolate blondie recipe. So, let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining me. My name's Alycia, I'm a pastry chef with a sweet tooth, and now I own a keto gluten-free bakery, and I'm here to teach you all the tips and tricks and how I come up with these recipes so that you guys can have the confidence to make your own keto creations. So if you enjoy my content, please hit the subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, leave comments, share the video, hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. It all helps me bring you new videos every week. Today, a recipe that was a little bit tricky to nail down. My first one came out delicious, but I needed to boost the strawberry flavor and adjust sweetness and stuff like that, because making something strawberry and keto, it can be a little bit difficult to keep the carbs down while getting that nice strawberry flavor in there. So I'm going to walk you through kind of each step and how I figured out a really delicious, flavorful strawberry white chocolate blondie. So when I did the first iteration of this recipe, initially I was just using ground up freeze-dried strawberries and strawberry extract. So I did some experimenting on how to get some extra strawberry in there without a lot of extra moisture. Because that's the nice thing about freeze-dried fruit of any kind, is that there's no moisture, so it doesn't really mess with the recipe too much. So that's why I went that route to begin with. But there just wasn't enough strawberry flavor for how much carbs are in freeze-dried strawberries. So I decided to add some fresh strawberries. But with adding fresh strawberries adds moisture. So what I opted to do was puree fresh or frozen strawberries, I've done it with both, and cook it down until it was a real thick paste. So that way I got as much moisture out of it as possible and it didn't hinder the cooking of the blondie. So I have a whole pound of strawberries here. I'm doing 12 ounces. That'll be enough for 3 batches of brownies, or what I'm doing to cut down on my prep and stuff like that, freezing the pucks of strawberry puree, pulling one out as I need to make a batch. So you could definitely do that also. You can save some for different recipes, like adding one of the pucks into like my vanilla cake recipe, because there's no extra sweetener. Like I think I have a strawberry cake recipe, but I used strawberry jam, which has allulose in it. I think I made cupcakes. They ended up browning really fast because there was allulose in there. So we want 12 ounces here. We're gonna cook it down to around 8 ounces. So we're taking out 4 ounces of moisture basically in here. So I'm just using my immersion blender. I'm gonna puree it super smooth and get it into a pot. I put it on medium heat, and I keep adjusting as it's going, because as it gets thicker, you don't want it to burn, so you might need to move the flame a little bit lower on it. Last time I did it, I tried to like time how long I was cooking it for so that I could give you kind of a time on it, but I think it was about 30 minutes. But again, you got to keep it pretty low so that you don't burn. I'm going to show you that, but I want to get on with the recipe, so I'm going to pull a puck out of the freezer, and it defrosts pretty much in time to use for the recipe. I'm going to put this into a measuring cup. I'm also going to turn my oven to 325 and put this kind of on my stove top to defrost while we make the rest of the recipe. So I minus the oven temperature quite a bit in this. One of the other hard things was trying to get a really pretty color on the blondie. For the first recipe I made, it was completely blonde. It didn't look pink at all. Even though I put in some Walk-In's natural food coloring, it was all gone. So I looked up different things that could keep the color. One of the things is not cooking at a high temperature. So I minus the temperature, 25 degrees from my original brownie recipe. I'll mention the other things as we go. I already have 4 eggs out. I'm probably gonna soak them in a little bit of warm water to come up to room temperature because I just pulled them out. So I kept the amount of eggs and butter the same, so 8 ounces of butter. I always use salted. If not, I would add a ½ teaspoon of salt to your dry mix. But I did minus the sweetener. Instead of 144 grams of powdered monk fruit erythritol, I'm only doing 96. And instead of 160 of allulose, I'm doing 120. And that's because we got sweetness from the strawberry puree, and we're also adding some freeze-dried strawberry powder to the blondie. But with minusing the sweetener, I did end up adding a little bit of powdered stevia, but that's because I didn't want to up the allulose anymore. Allulose adds moisture to baked goods, And because we're adding extra moisture with the strawberry puree, I didn't want to add all the allulose, but that's because to me, it just didn't taste sweet enough, and sugar brings out flavor. So if it's not sweet enough to you, it's not going to taste as strawberry-y either. So you need that balance of sweetness in order to get the flavor you want to. I just always weigh everything. It's so much easier, but looks like it's going to be half cup, 2 tablespoons. So much faster though, just to scoop and pour onto the scale. Then only 96 grams of the powdered monk fruit erythritol, which should be a half cup. I have been powdering my own in my Vitamix because the cheaper one that I usually buy has been out of stock. And I can't bring myself to spend that much money on Locanto powdered monk fruit erythritol blend. In recipes like this, you can definitely powder your own. I don't suggest using this for like a buttercream or something because it's still grainy and you don't want that in a buttercream. Looks like it's actually going to be 3/4 of a cup. Again, different graininesses of sweeteners. They may be different cup measurements. That's another reason why I say just a weigh, because you might have different products than me. Half teaspoon of, I use the powdered organic stevia. And you whip those together until they're super light and fluffy and most of the graininess is gone. But I'm not gonna do that while I'm talking, but I always multitask in the bakery. So I'll do that while I'm getting my dry, I'm getting my pan ready to go. Now for the dry ingredients. I went off my raspberry white chocolate blondie recipe. I'll link it up there for you, but unfortunately I use Lily's chocolate chips, and since they've been bought out, they changed the recipe. In that blondie recipe, I used vanilla whey protein. I just switched it to using unflavored whey protein. That way I can control the gums, the sweetener, all that stuff that goes in it. So I don't know exactly how I came up with these numbers. Like I said, it was from my old blondie recipe. It's 93 grams, which 1 cup is 80, and each tablespoon is 5 grams. So 1 cup, 2 tablespoons, and a teaspoon, or half tablespoon. I'm using my usual blend of Isopure whey protein isolate and coconut flour. 37 grams, which should be a 1/4 cup plus a tablespoon. It doesn't look like it's gonna be. You gotta pack it a little bit more. Because that's what the back of the package says. 30 grams for a 1/4 cup. I turned it up the tiniest bit. It's going crazy. Now, most of my recipes from back in the day, like this, are gonna say 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum. Since about 2 years ago, my xanthan gum has definitely been a lot stronger. So I've cut all my recipes in half on the amount of xanthan gum. So half teaspoon for most recipes that are a 9x13 or 2 8-inch rounds or 24 cupcakes. I do a half teaspoon now. And that's it for the base dry ingredients. Now, when I first made this recipe, I was just getting the bags of freeze-dried strawberries from Aldi's. They are definitely the cheapest I found, but I was able to find an organic strawberry powder. It's just strawberries. So I'm putting 24 grams of this into our mix here. Definitely keep this very, very sealed, and don't weigh out the strawberry powder by itself for any length of time because it will clump once it's been sitting out. Each scoop is 7 grams, 3.5 scoops. And that was the cheapest option I found, and it's organic, so I was happy about that. There's a lot of different brands on the market. I was debating on getting the Anthony's brand. This is basically just to get the clumps out, and then you can just dump this in, and I whisk it up right away so it doesn't clump back up again. Now, even though there's all this red in there, there's red from the strawberries, it still would not stay red. So I still might do an experiment with adding vinegar to this. I opted to add a packet of True Lemon because they say that adding one of those two will help keep the color. I end up just adding it to my pureed strawberry puck while it's defrosting. That way it kind of melts in there. You could just use 0.7 grams of citric acid. I've just had these for a while, so I wanted to use them. So I'm just gonna put that on there, and while that defrosts, the lemon will melt in there. Then the last thing to help with the color is this ruby red powder. So this is just vegetable juice color beet. The hardest part was adding as much as I could to the recipe without making the carbs higher than 3 grams net carbs per brownie. 1 scoop is 3 grams. I was able to add 4 grams to this and 1/2 gram to the topping. So if you're not using a scale, 1 teaspoon and a 1/4 teaspoon probably would get you the 4 grams. That was only 2, so. 4. And that is it for the dry ingredients. The only other thing we're adding to this is 1.5 teaspoons of strawberry extract. The thing with strawberry extract is a lot of times it doesn't taste super natural, so I didn't want to use too much strawberry extract in this recipe, which is why I opted to add as much strawberry as I could, you know, with keeping the carbs down. What would probably work good in this that I just don't have is a strawberry protein powder. So if you have a strawberry whey protein, it'd probably work well in this. I've just had problems with using different brands than Isopure, so I haven't tested any other brands. Isopure does have a strawberry whey protein, but I was really bummed when I went and looked at it and it has red 40 in it, and it's not even pink, so it's kind of pointless to even have that in there. But I didn't realize that until I just happened to look at the back of the package one day. If you don't want to do dyes, keep that in mind if you're buying a strawberry protein powder. Okay, now that we're all set to go, I'm gonna start this guy up. I'm gonna keep an eye on this. I just usually weigh it every once in a while to see if I'm at about 8 ounces. I'm gonna get my 9x13 pan ready while this is all going. I'm going to stop and scrape down quite a few times, make sure all this butter that is not super pale gets in there. And this is the fastest way I found to line my 9x13s now. So I just cut in the corners. Push it in. And you do need to grease the bottom of this. I found out the hard way. Okay, so that is the thickness of the strawberry puree. So about 55, 56 per each one. But you still gotta count 3 ounces in each batch, because it is 3 ounces of strawberry still, even though we cooked it down. And just let that chill until it's kind of room temperature, and then I throw it into the freezer. It's almost there. So I'm gonna get my eggs, crack them. You want 200 grams, so depending on your eggs, I just always weigh them to make sure. I just microwaved it on 50% power for like 30 seconds just to get that last little bit melted. Add that in. And add in your eggs one at a time, and then all your dry. And all your dry at once. So I might do more experiments on it just because the color isn't as vibrant once it's baked. Wish it stayed this color. Do more food science-y stuff. Put it all into your 9x13 and spread it out evenly. I'll use my mini offset spatula. Batter isn't going to really move at all, so make sure you get it nice and even. Try not to get too much batter up on the edge. It will burn. Now everybody's ovens vary widely. It took me a long time to get the timing right, and even the other day I still didn't cook it long enough. So you want to cook it just enough, because if you overcook any keto baked goods, they tend to be dry. This one is a little bit different with the allulose. It's not gonna be really dry, but you want that dense, fudgy, moist inside. So I'm gonna do 10, rotate it, and another 10, and that should be good to go. Popping this into the oven. You'll see me rotate it, and I'll be back when we pull it out of the oven. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. You want it like still soft in the middle. Might be able to go like 1 more minute. You still want them looking a little bit moist in the middle. Give it a little spin. I'll do the last 30 seconds. Okay, it's no longer really jiggly, but it's still kind of soft in the middle. So these gotta cool completely, and then we can make our white chocolate ganache for the top. Okay, it's been a couple of hours. They're pretty much room temperature now. We can make our topping that's going on this and add our final touches, which is some freeze-dried strawberries. So I bought this big thing of freeze-dried strawberries on Amazon just to decorate the top of the brownies. Now with white chocolate chips, especially from Chalk Zero, you need a lot less cream to chocolate chip ratio. Like most ganaches are 1-for-1 cream to chocolate chip. We need 3 ounces of chocolate chips and only 2 ounces of cream. So it makes it kind of difficult because I kept exploding the cream in the microwave because it's such a little amount. So I found 50% power for about a minute and a half, stopping it every like 30 seconds to give it like a swirl. Worked good for heating this to about 190 to pour over the chips. Before we do that, we're gonna get everything else ready so that can focus on the cream while it's heating up. So 3 ounces or 84 grams. About 1/3 of a cup and 1/4 cup, give or take. Because depending on the size of the chip, your cup measurements are always gonna be different. We're gonna add to that 1/4 teaspoon of strawberry extract, tiny bit. And then just to give it a prettier color, because when you make this ganache, it's not a very pretty color. I'm only gonna do like 1/2 of a teaspoon of this beet powder. Also, this is all gonna depend on your microwave too. So I'd always keep temping it. It's at about 165. I'm not gonna go any further. Pour it all over there. Get all those chips submerged in the cream and let it sit for a minute to melt. You just wanna scald your milk. So steam coming up, tiny bubbles around the edges. I would do this on the stove. I have a small pot coming, but I don't have anything that's small enough to do that little bit of cream. So that's why I'm doing the microwave. Now we can measure out our strawberries. About 2 tablespoons. And I'm gonna crush them up a little bit. Just get them a little bit finer. There's some big pieces, but some powder in there too. Now we whisk up our ganache. That should be good. Pour on the ganache. All the way to the edge. Sprinkle with your strawberry. There is your white chocolate strawberry blondies. Now I'm gonna throw them in the refrigerator to set up completely, and then we can slice into them. Okay, I'm always impatient, so I threw them in the freezer for a minute too, because I wanna cut into them. They're still not completely solid. Hopefully come out okay. Let's give them a slice. Still not as pink as I'd like them to be, but they're delicious. It's still stuck to the bottom. Don't know why. A lot of times I'll freeze them completely before I even slice them, so that doesn't happen. Let's give them a taste. Super moist, a little bit sweet, strawberry, white chocolate. It's so good. Like the texture on them is just really like fudgy. They're so good. I decided to have a whole other pan of these. I really shouldn't eat this whole thing. But I want to. They're so addicting. They're like soft and just they melt in your mouth. They're so good. I put up here the nutrition facts. Even though we added in all that strawberry, it's still only 3 grams of net carbs each. And we got away with no artificial dyes. And it's still pretty pink. So I hope you guys enjoy this recipe and try it out for yourself for that strawberry lover in your life. Something a little bit different than the usual, just like angel food cake with strawberries or strawberry shortcake, stuff like that for summertime. To be delicious, warmed up with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. I'll link up my vanilla ice cream there. It's delicious. If you don't want to make them yourself, you can always order them from Sugar Swap Bake Shop. All the links and everything will be down in the description box below, along with my Amazon links for everything I used here to make these delicious strawberry white chocolate blondies. And don't forget to check out the blog link to the full recipe. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'll be back with many more keto, low-carb, healthy meals, desserts, and snack recipes. Bye guys. Happy keto baking.